Boom. We are pre-recorded today, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be taking a look at Bitcoin, the Wyckoff distribution chart on the daily, as well as some of the smaller time frames. As it's new to us, we like to kind of reiterate all of this information that we're learning. So we'll do that first, and then we'll look over a Digibyte as well, and that same Wyckoff distribution or accumulation phase to see if we can I guess kind of analyze where we are in Digibyte and the future trades that we might be able to see that come out of that. So with this in mind, let's just dive in and take a look at Bitcoin on the daily. Boom. So here we have Bitcoin open on the daily here, and you can see that we've drawn phase A, B, C, D, and E of the Wyckoff distribution chart. Now I'm going to get rid of this drawing here, and as you can see currently on the daily, we are closed below the 21 moving average, this white one here. And we are just above the 50 moving average, the yellow here. Now there's a lot of support and resistance here at this $9,600 area. So I do suspect that we're going to come up and try to test that. If we cannot close above the $9,600 area, we'll come back down to test $9,300, $94. And then this is kind of the last vestige of support before we come down to test $8,600. Now, if I put this back here, what's interesting about the Wyckoff distribution, this can turn into an accumulation chart very quickly. So this could actually end up going above our markers and taking off. We'll say something like this, right? We'll say ends up closing above the rest of our and changing this pattern. So when you're looking at the Wyckoff phase methodology, you want to be flexible, but what you're giving yourself is this kind of box trading range to analyze where you're going to go. So that way you don't have to enter your position kind of haphazardly. We've had multiple times now where you could enter at 8,000 and exit at 10, right? You could enter at 8 and exit at 10 here and here as well. Or you could have exited at 9 and re-entered again at 8, right? You can take both a short and a long position in the box trading range here. So for me, because this method is rather new, what I want to always do is kind of take a look at it on the smaller time frames and see if I can get an adaptive methodology to really come through. Now, what we're going to do now is we're actually going to look at Bitcoin on a smaller time frame. So here we can see this Fibonacci channel that we had looked at a few times before, and the importance of this Fibonacci channel, obviously, as well. You can see here again on the daily below the 21, but above the 50. Now, it's when we zoom into the 15-minute area here that I saw another Wyckoff area come up to play, right? So here we can see what is your kind of standard pennant or asymmetrical triangle we formed off the bottom here. So I re-entered a long position at 93.40 after I had gone short around 9,800, and then I've been stable in that long position. Now, if we break below this asymmetrical triangle and break below 9,400, then what it's going to look like is this actual symmetrical triangle. And look at and again, this is a schematic of distribution for the Wyckoff phase methodology. So here you can see this phase A with a break above, and then the phase B with a puncture down below. So that's what we saw, a break above with phase A, a break down with a puncture below, and then this consistent move into this this pennant or this triangle. Now here the symmetrical triangle breaks down, but because I'm on the 15-minute, this is less reliable as, say, if we were on a daily chart as we were just looking at. But what I want to do here is try to incorporate this methodology into the trades that I make. That way I can tell if it works on these smaller time frames, because I've never used this particular charting methodology before, and we're going to look at it here in Digibyte on the daily here in a very short minute too. But what I want to go over on the last frame here on the 15-minute is Bitcoin's closing above the 21 moving average on the 15-minute, and again on the 50 here. If we see a nice cross of the 21 over the purple, which is my 9 moving average, I suspect we're going to see that bullish run up to and retest 9,700. Now, normally this as a distribution would cause for a downtrend in the price of Bitcoin. Now, you know, for those of you that have been following us for a little while, we've been actually watching the volatility index because it seems to have somewhat of a relationship with the market sentiment as a whole right now. And I actually constantly keep an eye on the VIX. Now, on Friday, we closed with an 11% drop, so things started to regain some type of normalcy in the average trader's mind, and we might actually see that increase on Monday, or decrease on Monday too. So we're keeping a close eye on the VIX. But back to Bitcoin here. we are going to see probably a relatively stable trade space throughout the weekend. Again, here, what I'm trying to discover is we'll do these phase distribution methods on the Wyckoff workout on the smaller time frames. So if we continue to close above this pennant, which it looks like we're going to, I suspect we're going to run to 9,700. I'm already in a long position from 93.40. Jerry was on the call for that one. Thanks, Jerry. I don't always get to post these things, but nonetheless, again, I'm looking for this break up of the pennant, which is, again, an abstraction of what we see where we'd think it would break down with the symmetrical triangle. But again, in these smaller time frames, we're just trying to give ourselves the best benefit of the doubt for an entry and or an exit point. For instance, if we were to break below here and start to head down towards my 93.40 entry, I would close that at my stop loss, basically at my entry point at this point. So because I do believe there could be still downside for Bitcoin. But again, this is a very, very crucial area, because when we look at the daily, you can see this this channel that we've been forming here for quite some time. And again, right at the bottom, the 236, but also is the 50 moving average on the daily at around 9,100. So this is a pretty critical area to close above 9,500 on the daily. Otherwise, we'll continue back down to around 8,500, 8,600 here. So remember, guys, I am long-term bullish for Bitcoin into the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars per Bitcoin. So when we're doing this trading stuff, it's vastly different than my investment strategy, which is just keep buying Bitcoin, or at this case, make more Bitcoin from trading. So that's when we're going to take a look at Digibyte. Digibyte, I'm a huge fan of. We had made entries everywhere from 80 to about 150, and I am currently just waiting that trade out. The other day, we jumped in a very, very quick trade. I barely got enough time to even post it out. I've already entered my trade, and before I'd got a chance to tell anyone anything, it started to break out. So it broke above the top of this pennant, and here's the first profit point for 40% profit in less than 24 hours. Boom, hit that profit target nicely. But what I want to show now is the potential of this fitting into an accumulation or distribution model again for Digibyte. You know, we're seeing this nice ascending triangle essentially here, come up like this, and then through the top. So we're going to keep a close eye on Digibyte, because I believe it's going to break out again. I think Digibyte can go a lot higher. So we're going to watch it through its Wyckoff distribution phase and see how it carries out. Digibyte, in my mind, as an investment, first off, again, there's a difference between investing and trading. I actually think Digibyte is worth investing in, because I believe it is severely undervalued. And I think as this ecosystem grows, Digibyte is going to find a big space in this sector. But that's another story. Right now, what I want to look at is the trade here. So this is kind of the range trade that we were looking at the other day as well, where we saw a 40% increase in Digibyte versus Bitcoin's price, which is a big move. Again, stacking sats here, right? So we're trying to do. So as soon as we hit this top part of the box range, we dropped almost 15% in just a matter of a few hours. Yeah, just 12.5% essentially. So again, when we're looking at the daily part of this trade on Digibyte, this type of phase distribution, we're looking for a continual close above 150 to stay, 160 to stay bullish, and then a continuation, which I suspect could bring us anywhere near in the range of like 700 Satoshis. Well, the first real resistance line is at 370. So I suspect we break up to a 370. Maybe we see a wave 4. And then again, take this up as a kind of a market count. So we'd see something like this of phase 1, of 2, the 3 up to 300, and then maybe something like this up to 500 or 600 Satoshis. So again, this is a rough estimate, but we want to chart them one wave at a time. You don't get too excited about these big moves in the short term. You try to stay focused on them you stay focused on where we are in the short term to make those longer term adjustments to your portfolio. So Digibyte brought in a fantastic trade, and as an investment, I actually believe in this token, which there are not a whole lot of. Most of them I would look at as a speculative trade to gain more Bitcoin only, right? So, and I'm always charting against Bitcoin because I am inherently interested only against the growth of this ecosystem against Bitcoin. So I really don't care what the US dollar price is. That is one way to look at it, but I think over the course of this trading career that I've had, my interest in the relationship to Bitcoin, not US dollars, is what continues to grow because I'm using that as my new form of money. Anyways, we'll keep it short there. I suspect Digibyte's probably going to chop down another 15% to the bottom of this ascending triangle. It's going to test its support here at around $1.80, $1.70, just a little bit higher than we were before, which was at around 170, so probably around 180, 190 actually, and then hopefully continue up this ascending triangle and break out. So those, you can follow us on TradingView as well. Obviously, if you like this content, give us the thumbs up on YouTube, because YouTube loves that. Leave your comments, your questions down below. Or you can give us a thumbs down too. It doesn't really matter to me. Either way, YouTube is happy. Just make YouTube happy, guys. Makes me happy. Even if you dislike me, just make YouTube happy. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, I really would love to hear your guys' thoughts. We're going to be taking a look at a bunch more tokens in the future because I've decided to, hey, why not? I love charting, I love analysis, and you guys are always interested in things that I miss. So like XVG, XTZ, Link, Zilliqa, even Theta, we're going to take a look at and chart in some of our next videos. Just for now, Bitcoin and Digibyte. And again, remember guys, both of these Wyckoff accumulation and distribution models that we are looking at on the daily can shift, right? So what we're looking at here on the 4-hour with Bitcoin for this kind of phase distribution, it could break back up. So what you want to be able to do is be consciously aware of where we are in each of these positions as they kind of play themselves out, right? So we're just looking for whether it's a distribution or an accumulation model. But for now, we've got this nice big box range here between 8.7 and 9.8 effectively, and a little bit higher around 10,000 too. But let's go 9.8 for the more effective entry and or exit, depending on if you're going long or short. This is Tio with the Arcane Bear. I hope you guys enjoyed today's content. I'm just going to keep these kind of traditional rant videos simple, to the point. I just want to discuss things in a more immediate fashion because the trading and technical analysis world are always moving so quickly, and I want to make sure that I keep my trading tactics up to date, as I believe we're going to be moving into a more decentralized future. Understanding the relationship of one asset versus Bitcoin's price is going to be something that I keep my interest on all the time. I will see you again on the next episode, and